Are you losing marks despite preparing well? You might be making common exam blunders without even realizing it. Did you know a simple mistake like quoting the wrong accounting standard numbers can cost you your valuable marks? Let's break down real ICI insights and examples to help you avoid these mistakes and score like a topper. Hello future CS, welcome back to my channel, your one-stop guide for everything related to CA exams. If you are new here, I am Pooja, a chartered accountant. I have an experience of working for Ernst& Young and KPMG, and I help CA aspirants like you succeed with practical tips, strategies, and support. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the most common mistakes by students in CA Inter Advanced Accounting exams. We'll also see some practical examples and we'll also see some tips how to avoid these mistakes. So this video is based on real comments and guidance by ICI with added examples for each mistake to help you remember and apply better in your exams. So let's dive right into it. Also guys, if you are new to my channel, I request you all to subscribe and hit the bell icon below so that you can get notified whenever I post new videos. So guys, when you visit my channel, in the playlist section, you can see there is a separate playlist for CA Inter exams. So in this playlist, you can find different type of study plan, subject specific guidance and much more videos. And there is also a playlist for CA GPT for students. In this playlist, I have made different videos in which I have shown as to how you can use CA GPT while preparing for your exams. So do visit my channel and watch these videos. And there are various other playlists as well which might be helpful for you. So the first section that we'll be discussing today is how actually you should be attempting. But most of the students don't attempt the paper in this way. So let's see what all points are there under this. So the first point is always provide working notes. So for example, if you are solving a question relating to AS11, that is forex gain or loss. So most of the times the common mistake made by the students here is writing only the journal entry without showing how they arrived at the exchange difference. So the correct method to do is to provide a working note calculation. Like it's better to show in a separate note what was the exchange rate on transaction date and what was the exchange rate on balance sheet date and what is the difference and how this difference has to be treated as per AS11. So let's see an example. So here we can see an example. Exchange rate on transaction date rupees 75 per USD. Exchange rate on balance sheet date rupees 78 per USD. Then the difference is rupees 3 into, for example, we have $1,000. So is equal to rupees 3,000. This has to be charged to PNL as per AS11. So the ICA has clearly said, give all the necessary working notes as the part of main solution. So whatever answer you are writing, it is very important to include the working notes as the part of your solution. The next point is to mention assumptions clearly. So sometimes it might happen that there might be some ambiguity in the question and you might have to make some assumption in order to solve the question. So it is very important to write the assumptions clearly so that the examiner can also understand as to based on what assumption you have solved the question. Example, you are solving a question relating to AS2, that is valuation of inventory. The most common mistake here is students directly value inventory at cost without stating the correct assumption. So let's see how to write a correct assumption for this. So you can write an assumption that as per AS2, Since the NRV is higher than cost, inventory is valued at cost. So mentioning the assumption helps the examiner follow your logic and award you stepwise marking. So as there is marking for each step, if you mention the assumptions clearly, you will get the marks for that step also. The next point is wrong quoting of accounting standard numbers. So this was also one of the common mistake which was noticed. For example, quoting AS10 instead of AS26. So most of the time students get confused between these two AS. So writing as per AS10 when the question is about treatment of software expenses. So software expenses fall under AS26, that is intangible assets. So if you are unsure about the accounting standard number, you can just write as per applicable accounting standard for intangible assets, and then you can continue the answer. If you are not sure about the accounting standard number, do not mention the wrong number. If you are not confident about the AS number or para, it is better not to mention it. Because if you mention the wrong AS number or wrong AS para, there are chances of losing marks. So if you are 100% confident, only that time you can mention the AS number. So when you are studying itself, it is better to make notes at one place, noting down the AS number and the corresponding AS names, so that one day before the exam you can revise that and go, because it will be helpful for you to quote at different places in your answer sheet. The next point is link your answer to the accounting standard provisions. For example, if you are solving any question relating to AS5, that is prior period item, most common mistake that was noticed here was students just show debit and credit without explaining as to why an expense is classified as prior period item. So let's see the correct method how to do this. So you can write a note as per AS5, a prior period item arises due to an error or omission in preparation of financial statement of prior period. For example, if you are dealing with electricity expense pertaining to last year, so hence you can write as hence the electricity expense of rupees 25,000 pertaining to last year is classified as a prior period item. So in this way, you have to give a clear note as to why you are treating a particular expense as prior period item. So this shows the examiner that you have understood the entire concept and not just the computation. Now let's go ahead to the section 2 of this video. So the section 2, this relates to the most common mistakes which has been noticed in the answer sheet by the examiners. So it is very important to avoid these mistakes so that you can save your valuable marks, and each marks count in the exam. So the first most common error noticed was lack of conceptual clarity. So when you are studying itself, it is very important that you gain complete understanding of the concept. Do not do rote learning. For example, sometimes when you are solving any questions relating to AS10 and AS2, you might get confused whether to classify an item under AS10 or AS2. The most common error is confusing capitalization of machinery with regular inventory purchases. Capitalization of machinery comes under AS10, whereas regular inventory purchases come under AS2, which relates to valuation of inventory. So the correct way is the machinery is held for use in production. Hence, it has to be capitalized under AS10 and inventory is valued under AS2. So most of the times it was noticed by the examiner that students lacked in-depth understanding of the concepts. So if you are clear with your concepts, at that time any twisted question also you will be able to solve very easily. The next common error noticed was carry forward errors. So this was the most silly errors which was noticed by the examiners. So for example, you are solving a problem relating to suppose AS19 lease liability. And the mistake done is here, if the lease rental calculation on page 1 is rupees 50,000, but on page 2 you carry forward it as 45,000. At that time, the entire calculation goes wrong. The internal rate of return, the present value, depreciation calculation, everything becomes incorrect. And not only this type of carry forward error, suppose you are carry forwarding the amount relating to depreciation from one sheet to another sheet. That time also you can go wrong. And also when you make the calculations in the calculator, but instead of writing say suppose 1050, you write the amount from your calculator as 1005. At that time also the calculation go wrong. So it is very important that you write the correct amounts. Whether it is carry forward from one account to another account, or carrying forward from one page to another page, or noting down the amounts from calculator. You have to be very careful. So tip here is to always double check the amount before turning the page and use highlighters to mark the final carry forward values. Because one carry forward mistake affects the entire computation chain. The next common error noticed by the examiners was incorrect format of financial statements. For example, you are preparing company financial accounts. So the mistake here is writing as debtors and creditors instead of writing as trade receivables and trade payables as per Schedule 3. So it is very important to follow the format as given in the Schedule 3. Follow the latest format with subtotals and heading, because the ICA has clearly said format is one of the criteria for assessing your knowledge. So you have to prepare the format as per the Schedule 3 as this is applicable for your exams. The next common error noticed in the answer sheet was not reflecting amendments. Many students did not go through the latest amendments and based their answers on the old provisions itself. For example, AS10 revised. So the most common error was referring to AS6 depreciation, which is now merged with AS10 revised. So the correct method is depreciation, revaluation, component accounting, all are now a part of revised AS10. So it is very important to stay updated with the revision test papers, amendments in your study materials, mock test paper, etc. And all of these amendments which are applicable for your exams, you can find this easily through the BOS Knowledge Portal. Now let's see the section 3 of this video, that is the most costly mistakes, and this can cost you more marks. The first mistake is missing working notes. So writing working notes is very important as I mentioned earlier. For example, if you are solving a question relating to AS12, government grants, mistake is not showing calculation of deferred income method. In the exam, we have to keep one point in mind, that there is marking for each step. Sometimes it might happen that our final answer might not be correct. However, if we have given the calculation step by step and if we have clearly written the working notes, we will get marks at least for those steps and working notes. Even if our final answer is wrong, we will get marks for the other step, and this can help us to pass the exam. So, in case of government grants, you can show the following working note. For example, grant received rupees 5 lakh, life of asset 5 year, annual credit to PNL is rupees 1 lakh, that is 5 lakh divided by 5 years. So, working notes are very important as this clearly shows the logic and you will be easily able to obtain marks. Next mistake noticed was missing assumptions. So now for example, you are solving a question relating to AS9 revenue recognition. So the mistake noticed in this was revenue is shown for total contract even though delivery is not complete. So this is a mistake here. And the correct assumption here is Revenue is recognized only when significant risk and rewards are transferred. Delivery not completed, hence the revenue is not recognized. Hence you can clearly write your assumption like this. Mentioning the assumption avoids confusion and loss of marks, because the examiner will also get the point of view based on which you have answered. So this will help the examiner to clearly understand as to based on what assumption you have answered, and hence you will not lose out on your precious marks. Next common error noticed was confusion due to twist in the questions. So most of the times the questions will be twisted, and it is possible that the students might get confused due to this. For example, suppose you are solving a question relating to AS29, provisions and contingency. The most common mistake noticed here was students treat contingent liability as provisions. Whereas the correct method for this is, as per AS29, since probability of outflow is low, the amount should be disclosed as contingent liability and not a provision. So, in order to treat an amount as a provision or contingency, we have to see what is the probability of outflow. If the probability of outflow is low, it has to be disclosed as contingent liability. But if the probability of outflow is not low, we have to disclose the amount as provision. So in this case, as I mentioned earlier, we have to be strong in our basic concepts. At that time itself, we will be able to solve the twisted questions without getting confused. So whenever you are going through the question, always locate the twist in the question, especially key terms like probability, timing, estimate, etc., and then solve the question based on these key terms. The next common error noticed was writing irrelevant content. So it is very important to write the answers based on the marks allotted to the question. For example, there is a question of 4 marks relating to AS1, and this is a theory question. And the most common error noticed here was students write pages together about all the disclosures relating to AS1 when the question only asked why consistency principle is important. So in case for small question we go on writing pages together, this will lead to loss of valuable time as well. So this time which we could have invested in writing other long answers, this time will get wasted. So the important point here is just write brief 4 points. Answer with a heading, definition, example and conclusion. So restrict your answer based on the marks allocated to the question. So here's a rapid revision of what all we discussed. Provide working notes. State assumptions clearly. Working notes and assumptions are very important part of your answers. Avoid quoting wrong AS references. If you are not sure about the AS numbers or AS para, do not write wrong numbers or wrong paras. This can lead to loss of marks. Link your answers to the provisions of the AS. Follow the formats given in Schedule 3. Stay updated with the amendments that are applicable for your exams. Avoid carry forward errors. Be careful while carrying forward the amount from one account to another account, from one page to another page, and also while noting down the amounts from calculator to your answer sheet. Don't waste time writing unnecessary content. Write the answers in commensuration with the marks allotted to the question. So fix these errors and you will easily boost your score. So that's a wrap on the common mistakes in CA Inter Advanced Accounting with real examples. Which of these mistakes have you made before? Be honest in the comments and let me know what you will change this time. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and also share this with your friends who are also appearing for the CA Inter exam. I hope you found this video useful and informative. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, Write smart, not just study hard. All the best for your exams, and I will see you all in the next video.